They brought a fake SWAT team to my house, shouting about illegal weapons and HOA regulations on private property. I wasn't just calm, I was curious. Because what they didn't know was that my house is a federally certified training facility and I'm a Navy SEAL. I made one call and 5 minutes later their cosplay collapsed under the weight of real federal charges. I know what you're probably thinking. How can something like that happen? How does someone pull off this level of nonsense and not realize the danger they're inviting? Believe me, I asked myself the same thing. But when you've spent your adult life deployed in places where people actively try to kill you, it takes more than a middle-aged woman in tactical yoga pants to raise your blood pressure. Rewind about 6 weeks. Things were almost normal. That's when it started, with a mailbox. A mailbox. The kind you can buy off Amazon. Except mine was custom built from cold-rolled steel with a locked compartment, standard issue for what I do. But apparently, it looked too militarized for the neighborhood's unofficial aesthetic, which would be a valid complaint if we had a functioning HOA. But we didn't. There I was, tightening bolts on my new mailbox when I heard the unmistakable slap of judgmental flip-flops. Enter Karen. Blonde bob. Oversized sunglasses. Clipboard in hand like she was about to storm the beaches of Normandy. She marched onto my property and cleared her throat with the kind of authority bestowed only by self-importance and an unhealthy amount of HGTV. That mailbox violates Section 12 of the HOA Code, she declared, without so much as a hello. I looked up, squinting against the sun. There is no HOA. She smiled like a snake and tapped her clipboard. We reformed it. You must have missed the memo. I love protocol. So I asked a reasonable question. Did you file the new HOA charter with the county? Her face twitched. We don't need to. It's a private community agreement. That's when I knew I wasn't dealing with a neighbor. I was dealing with a suburban warlord. 2 days later, a letter appeared taped to my door. Printed on cheap paper and sealed with what I hope was grape jelly, it accused me of violating 4 new HOA bylaws, including hostile aesthetic interference and unregulated postal infrastructure. I laughed. Then I saved the letter, took pictures, and called my lawyer. Turns out, I wasn't crazy. The HOA had dissolved 5 years ago. No board, no authority, and no legal standing. But Karen had created something new, a rogue HOA fantasy. Within a week, she and her boyfriend, let's call him Chad, because of course it's Chad, were doing nightly patrols in a Jeep Liberty with orange hazard lights and a magnetic HO enforcement sign on the side. I wish I were joking. Chad wore knockoff Oakleys and gave off the vibe of someone rejected from the police academy 3 times. They handed out fake citations for things like non-regulation trees and overgrown fescue. No one even knew what fescue was. Most of the neighborhood mowed everything just in case. Karen, drunk on power and probably boxed Chardonnay, took it further. She started a Facebook group, Concerned Citizens of Oakview Ridge. It was mostly blurry mailbox pictures and rants about off-leash dogs. I stayed quiet. Let them dig their hole. Then they made their second mistake. Chad knocked on my door at 6 a.m., wearing a tactical vest with a patch that read Community Safety Unit. He handed me a clipboard and said I was randomly selected for a weapons inventory inspection. I stared at him. You're trespassing on a federally certified training facility. Leave. His jaw twitched. You're not above the community, sir. This is for everyone's safety. I repeated myself. He left, but not before taking photos of my security cameras and posting them online, claiming I was arming up. My neighbors started sending me screenshots like it was a soap opera. One even had their lawn flamingo stolen as punishment. Things were escalating. Fast. I called my buddy at Homeland Security. They confirmed the facility classification and told me to document everything. Karen had moved from nuisance to impersonating authority. I compiled a dossier. Then I got a new letter, final notice of weapons forfeiture, signed by Karen, acting HOA commander. She ordered me to present all non-registered weapons for HOA verification. Right. I waited. Waited until they set up a little operation outside my house. Chad with his bullhorn. Karen in a foam military jacket. A folding table with zip ties and Capri Suns. They yelled, final warning. Surrender the weapons or face community sanction. I didn't respond. I just called one number and said 6 words. Activate Federal Certification Clause Code 173. 15 minutes later, the real show began. Black SUVs. No sirens. No noise. They slid in like predators. Doors opened. 4 federal agents stepped out. Karen puffed up. This is HOA business, sir. We are fully authorized. The agent replied, calm and cold, "You're impersonating federal officers. Step away." Chad moved. Badge flashed. Hand on sidearm. Chad stumbled back. I opened the door. "Told you," I said. Karen argued. Claimed jurisdiction. The agent said, "You're standing on DOD land. This isn't HOA. This is federal." Neighbors peeked from windows. Phones recorded. One agent bagged her Comic Sans violation letters as evidence. Karen asked to speak to his supervisor. "Ma'am," the agent said, "I am the supervisor. And you're in real trouble." Karen was arrested. Chad too. The cosplay SWAT team detained. After they left, the neighborhood emerged like survivors. One guy brought me a six-pack. Someone clapped. But I knew it wasn't over. That night, I got an email. Subject: legal response pending. It was smug. Claimed misunderstanding. Claimed federal court would sort it out. Fine. 3 days later, a man named Douglas showed up. Called himself community counsel. Said I'd regret interfering with suburban governance. I let him talk. 20 minutes of legal gibberish about emergent communal sovereignty. I called a contact in federal property oversight. Within days, my certification updated from dormant to active. New signs posted. Federally protected training zone. Unauthorized access prohibited. Karen doubled down. Hosted garage meetings. Tried to rebrand the HOA as a private security firm. I attended. Chad wore a polo with HOA tactical response. Karen accused the government of suppressing suburban sovereignty. They handed out new compliance checklists. I asked, "Did the fake officers get background checks?" Silence. I reported everything. Auditors arrived. Meeting stopped. Facebook group vanished. Jeep decals removed. But then came another twist. Douglas filed a civil suit against me for community sabotage. I countered. Aggressively. Court day arrived. Karen showed up with a new lawyer. The judge skimmed the file. "You do understand impersonating federal officers is a felony, right?" Karen stammered. My lawyer presented our case. Every fake notice. Every video. Every damning quote. The judge ruled against her. Full injunction. Cease and desist. All documents nullified. Community service ordered, under federal supervision. Karen cleaned the very ground she tried to claim. She avoided my eyes. Chad disappeared. The fake board dissolved. Weeks later, she finally spoke. "Why didn't you press criminal charges?" "Because jail doesn't teach," I said. "But humility might." The neighborhood returned to normal. A little louder. A little freer. Karen faded from view. Someone said she enrolled in community college. Others said she found work at a plant nursery. I kept the mailbox. Upgraded it. Added a plaque. Certified federal facility. I also kept one of her fake notices. Framed it. A reminder that some battles are won not with guns, but with laws, patience, and a little legal judo. And in the end, even Karen knew she lost. A final letter arrived, and signed. "You were right. I went too far. I'm sorry. That was enough. We're over." Peace restored. And the floors? Still squeaky clean.